Thank you for coming out here. I shouldn't say coming out here, but looking at my video. What I did here is I did a test plot. I did a lot of work to doing this. The goal of this test plot is to see how much fertilizer would make a difference in yield by top dressing with the Rogator. The Rogator is an airflow delivery system, and it has 60-foot booms. And we went ahead and did two scenarios of mixing fertilizer. Basically, we had of a rate of 100 pounds and an equal rates in a ton, or basically a ton of urea and a ton of ammonia sulfate, which is 2 tons, and that would even amount. So some of the rates that we have here, we did with an even amount on that, and then we cut the amount down per acre. So it was pre-mixed with 100 pounds of urea, which is 46 units of nitrogen. And we write that down on tickets as 46O-O. And the first on it, it stands for NPK. So the first numbers wrote down as nitrogen, the second number is phosphate, the third number would be potash, and the fourth number is sulfur. And urea is the amount of fertilizer, nitrogen that we use. And its percentage of 100 pounds is 46-O-O. And I know for some farmers, they know what we're talking about, but then there's a lot of them, and these kids and people that work with it have no idea. I worked in the fertilizer part of it, and I wasn't aware of it. I wish they'd teach this stuff in school. I would have been more on this about the business-wise of fertilizer. So when you buy a ton of nitrogen, of urea, it's 4600. The other thing that we used was AMS. It's a very available fertilizer, and it has sulfur in it. And it's 21% nitrogen, and then it's 0 phosphate, 0 potash, and 24% sulfur. So it's high in sulfur. One of the main things is that we're trying to do here was we realized that we need more sulfur than we did before because they cut out all the coal mine and coal, and we used to get plenty of sulfur in the soil. So as far as pollution is concerned, it's been cut back because we can see it in our crops now. We're short on sulfur. AMS is the fastest way to get sulfur into our crop growing. Also, AMS is a fast nitrogen that the crop can use right away, and we don't have to worry about leaching from the soil too much or denitrification due to humidity. So urea laying on top of the ground, if it gets hot and humid, we can lose a lot of that as a gas going up in the air. The ideal situation for any of this fertilizer on top dressing, since it's laying on the ground, that it would rain afterwards. But we put a nitrogen stabilizer on the urea so we wouldn't lose it. Or we put Humahance. Humahance makes the fertilizer get closer to the crop, and so the micronutrients can carry it up into the crop faster. And the other thing of it is it takes the salt away, so it helps on my fertilizer equipment to take down less salt so it don't rust as much, and it doesn't burn the corn in the field if it gets in the world. Matter of fact, it makes the nitrogen more accessible to the crop. If it does get in the world, the humidity or dew in the morning will sweat that down, and it'll come down next to the crop part of it. So it's almost kind of like the wide thing with the liquid. Whatever you do with fertilizer when it goes on top of the ground, it'd be nice to have a little bit of moisture to carry it down in the rain, in the ground, and stuff like that. We did have some in afterwards, so we feel pretty confident that our nitrogen hasn't been wasted due to the fact of the Humahance. This is not all our nitrogen was put on as a top dress. We split it up I'll have them facts and figures wrote out where you can read this off of the sample, how and when we planted the variety of seed. We used the LG seed is the first year I used, and I'm really happy with it. I got Lisa here as my web design, and she's been doing these things for me, and we've kind of cut down because we just haven't had the time. We got so many things going on here, and a lot of things to be fixed. And but this test plot means a lot to me because we bought the airflow and we knew we needed to get the fertilizer at the right place at the right time. And the only way I could do it is to do it myself. And so I appreciate LGV Seeds coming out here. I'm using their seed. And I can tell you right now, this is probably the best corn crop year that I've ever had with their seed in general, with the top dressing both. And our goal here is we got 5 samples, and we also got a strip in here with no fertilizer on it at all. Our field is 1/4 long, and it was next to the road. I squared up the field so they'd be straight here. And it's 1,080 feet. So we're going to work off of that. And eventually here I got to call my rep here and tell me how to use this machine. So we're not going to slow up, but I wanted to explain, we're going to be writing this down. The other thing of it is I've done test plots, and I've seen other test plots done. They take a little strip. Our ground is not perfect. There might be a low spot at this end here. It's not quite right or whatever. So I'm doing this whole 1,080 feet here and put it in here because the more grain that we have in there, the length of the sample of the test plot, I think it's more accurate. So I'm trying to do this as accurate as I possibly can. And I'm trying to find a sweet spot here on the amount of top dressing nitrogen on there, whatever. I strongly don't recommend doing 100% top dressing because you need nitrogen to get the crop out of the ground right away, and you need your other fertilizer on earlier as well. So this was when they needed the nitrogen the most, is when we was trying to be out here. Timing is everything. So it's the right fertilizer at the right time at the right place. The weather for us pretty much, but we've had now almost we've had over 8 weeks of no rain. Is that about right, Lisa?
Off and on.
Yeah, we might have had a 3/10 rain in there. They are predicting rain for Monday. Today is Friday, the 21st, right?
Yeah.
So this is Friday the 21st. We're doing this. And I combined some of the other stuff and carted to the grain bin, the amount it holds. This field's making over 200 bushel an acre. And what I did when I had this, we got a somewhat amounts being there, and I've got another field at the end that I did. So we made sure we had a full amount going down, and then we changed, rates and stuff. So we kind of mixed up the other rates. So anywhere on that. So we either had what we did on the rest of our fields. We had about 100 pounds of urea and 100 pounds of ammonia sulfate, and with 50 pounds, a half a gallon of Humahance per ton, and that's Monty's Humahance. And we're advertising it. Farmers and Merchant Seed, my company, not my company, my family's company. It's just like a family farm. I'm not doing it just for myself. With the money we make here, we send the kids to college and put meals and wheels on them. And so that's the importance of doing this. And I'm trying to get more kids and people involved, dollars and cents, in making this come to light. So if we don't take the time to do our own research and get this, it's hard to find this kind of research, so I had to do it myself. Had to have the right equipment to do it, so we bought a rogator, and it's 60-foot booms. when we combine, and we got an 8-row corn planter. When we worked this ground, it was super dry. It was hard to see the marker. We did not have GPS guidance. We're not that big to justify that expense. But it was really hard seeing the marker. It was hot and dry. One thing for us in the past, we've had a lot of wet ground. It's hard to get it worked up. We spent a lot of time working the ground down. I think that helped us on our yield and whatever. But we got an 8-row planter. It's 20 feet width. The airflow delivery system is a 60 foot. So we centered that. We also took samples of the soil in each one of these spots as well, and we've got that down. It will give out at another time. And we also got, we're going to go back and take soil samples here pretty soon. I don't know, as dry and hard as the ground don't seem that bad. It seems like there's still a little bit of moisture in here, but the stalks are really slick and hard to walk on the field. Lisa's got trouble walking, so she's gonna follow me with the car to do the video. So this video is gonna be long because we're basically I'm talking about all the different stuff, and I'm gonna kind of shut it down here in a little second, and we're gonna drive past the field, and so you can see the test plot there past the signs on that. And then we've got the test weight here. So we're going to combine all the way down, come back empty, dump it in, weigh that out, take a moisture reading. And then I was concerned about test weight because in the past, fertilizer makes a big difference on test weight. And test weight is how many pounds to a bushel, or the corn could weigh heavier in a certain amount of, I don't know, they weigh out so many grams and stuff. I do not have a test weight scale here, but we're going to take samples so that can go to the elevator and they can do that for us, and we'll write that down as well. So that'll be taken at another time. So my wife went home and found all the Folger coffee cans that we could find to put each sample in to keep track of. So that's what we're going to do basically on this. I'm thinking off the top of my head as we're doing this. So it takes a lot of time and work and effort. So forgive me. We will write this down somewhere we can read it in our website. Lisa is our website designer, and she's doing these videos for us today. So she'll take other pictures on it, and so it's quite some work to get done. So, but we measured from the road because it was easy to walk on, and we got the field squared up. It's 1,080 feet long. Then we're going to take the weight, and then there's this formula they can figure out on it. 6 rows, head 8. We got an 8-row corn head, so we're going to take 6 all the way through. Purposely not trying to catch any spot where Kevin might have drove on a row or something. So we're going to have a pretty good test plot to be pretty accurate as we possibly can. So that's our goal. We're going to call it quits here and make a quick walk down through the field here, a video to see the test plot. So we're going to do that right now.
You want me to end this one now?
Yep, end it.